What's up guys, today we are doing a bunch of test hands with my Elfnote deck. I haven't posted a video like this in a little while. I've been doing a bunch of testing, just seeing how things interact. I've been playing a lot on DB and then a lot on Master Duel. I'm really trying to get Elfnotes down. I have a regionals coming up in less than 2 weeks, so I'm just trying to get as many reps in as possible, and these test hands are one of the things that I'm doing just to practice for that regional. With that being said, this is the deck list that I am playing. Essentially, it's the standard Elfnotes, standard branded, pretty much standard power patron. I cut one of the spells and then I added the three, like the Holy Trinity or whatever people call it, called by cross out talents. I'm running the list at 40. I really didn't like it at 42. So this is my current list. I think Alba and Dogma are two goated cards that have been just running through it for me recently and are really good. And then my side deck is probably going to be changing for the regionals. I'll be working with a couple friends that are way far superior players than me to help me build out my side deck. But right now, this is my list, this is what I'll be testing with, and this is what I'll be playing with in this video. So with that being said, let's get into the first test hand. Alright, so first hand, let's see what we get. Regina, Ash. Okay, it's not terrible. Loses easy to some hand traps, but does make a pretty good board if they don't hand trap us, or if they hand trap us poorly. So, I mean, off the rip, we could get a draw, we can get Power Patron. Let's just play this first hand willy-nilly. It's our first one of the night. Just go full combo, just see how it goes. We'll scale that. We'll go normal summon Medius the Pure, activate effect. It'll special summon, on summon effect. Juno, it'll pop itself. Goes to the top. Draw two. Okay, cool. We'll discard this effect. Add this back. We're in a really good place here. So I never go into the 5, like I just never do it. So I normally just go straight into branded here, and especially we don't have Fallen White in hand, so I will just go straight into activate Power Patron's effect. It'll make it a level 4. I'll go Synchro 8. That'll go into this guy. Power Patron's effect to search. With that, I will probably, because trap is important, I'll probably just go, because I already have Lucina and Regina, I'll probably just go Fortuna, right? Get that trap out. And I think here, Tania's probably the right decision, but we already have Lucina, Regina. Tania's gonna get into rotation, we're good. So we'll activate Ecclesia. We'll get the Fallen of White out. Activate the Fallen of White's effect. Go into the Incredible Ecclesia on the field. Synchro into 8 again. Activate Omega's effect. And then now we rip the card. They only have 4 in hand, and we still have a full hand. So we're pretty good right here, right? So with this, I'm gonna go Fortuna's effect. Get trap on the field. We'll go Regina, sending Fortuna. The special. Regina's effect on summon, special out. So we'll go Power Patron. We'll go into 7. Strelitzia. Regina's effect to add back. We'll go Lucina. Lucina's effect to search into Tania. So here, we'll activate Sterlitzi's effect, Power Patron, which is kind of nice. They would have already nibbed us here, so we can just go into 7. Go into Dawn Dragster. Then go special summon Tania, Tania's effect. Go welcome home. We have double Power Patron on the field or in the grave already. What do we do? What we can do is we can activate that, sending this to get Medius. Then we can go trap, sending Medius, targeting Power Patron. Go into an 8. Right there. Set one, and then end phase. This comes back. Right? So our end board is pretty good. I feel like I could have finished it a lot better, but this is our first hand of the night, you know? So I feel like I could have done better, but our end board is essentially the Fallen of the Albaz, essentially, because we'll go here, go into Albaz, Fusion into Mirjade most likely. We have a Monster Omni Negate, a Spell Trap Omni Negate, we have a Pop plus Follow Up, we have Protection, an On-Field Omni Negate, and then Regina, essentially, send this, and then we'd probably summon out Tania from the deck and hand rip. And then we have an Ash potentially, depending on if we do the Albaz play. But I think we hold on to the Ash and use the other negates, and then use this for the Mirjade potentially. So it's still a super layer board. I could have ended it a lot more efficiently, but overall it's still like pretty layered. Even if I don't use the Regina, I can use this, sending this targeting the Sterlitzia, right? So the Sterlitzia would summon back in the center zone, and then I would activate Sterlitzia, special summoning this back, and then I would use this effect to still rip. So I wouldn't even need to use the Regina potentially to have that hand rip. It's more they just know what it's like, what's in hand and what's probably coming. So overall we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 potential interactions, and then potentially more depending on 9 like things coming back and stuff. So yeah, overall this is a good first hand board, and I'm pretty happy with it. All right, second hand, let's see how it goes. Okay, I like this hand. Going first, this hand is a lot of gas, a lot of gas. This is actually a crazy going first hand. How do we start? Like, how do we want to interact and like force them to interact? Because the Tania spell is pretty good. Going Lucina, grabbing Regina is kind of a good play. So yeah, let's see how that works. First of all, we'll go scale, because that card is crazy OP. And then we go special summon Lucina, effect. So it pops itself, and we draw. And we draw 2. I didn't shuffle. Well, we have that and that. Then we discard 1, which will discard this, and then chainlink 1, add it back. So this is our hand. This is where we start. Lucina's effect, it's pretty good. Honestly, Talon's just like kind of insulates us from whatever they play, but I will activate Welcome Home, get that on the field to protect my center zone. Then let's go Regina, sending Lucina to special. Regina's effect on summon will summon our Power Patron, and then here we will synchro into 7, and then we'll go chainlink 1, chainlink 2. Regina comes back to hand. Power Patron will search and get us our Fortuna. So this is our hand right now. We're kind of lit. It's pretty good, and we're under nib. So technically we could, like, if we want to play under nib right now, we could go Sterlitzia's effect, summon this out, and then we'll go into 8, which is nice. So we have Crystal Wing, which is sick. Then we can go special Fortuna's effect. There's the trap. It's actually going to be pretty good, because then we will activate the trap, sending this to summon this guy back. Then we'll special Tania. Don't need its effect, obviously, because we only play 1 spell. Then we will go into 7. So now we have a monster negate and a spell trap negate, which is sick. Bring that down so you can see it. And then before we end the turn, this is pretty sick. So we'll go Fallen the White, sending Albion. So this is going to lock us, which doesn't matter. And then on summon effect to special that guy out. Then we go into 8. And then we look and activate this effect, just to get the card out of my deck and to have something to send with that. So we go here, obviously no effect. And then end phase, we'll bring this guy back, and then we'll go Albion's effect, and we will set Fallen with Virtuous. And this is a pretty solid hand, if I'm being honest. I feel like we shouldn't lose this, especially if we hit them correctly. We have the Aldez play, we have the discard fodder, especially if they didn't hand trap us and we can't use talents. On their turn, we'll just discard it when we go into Talvez, pretty much. So we have a pop, an on-field Omni, a monster Omni, a spell and trap negate, the Alvez play, fodder for the trap, and then we have whatever we decide to summon back. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 potential interactions in the grave, and then obviously we have Regina and Harmonia in hand. So we have a lot with this board that's pretty layered. At my locals, this board should definitely win the game. Definitely Master Duel. Every time I end on this board in Master Duel, which happens actually quite a lot, I win, right? There's just too many interactions. They don't have enough starting cards to just like get things through. Like having 3 pretty big negates on the field off the rip is really hard to play through. And then obviously if they link or XYZ or anything that isn't like a monster negate, going into Mirror Jade hurts so bad. So overall, this second board, playing under Nib and probably through a couple hand traps, is pretty solid. All right, so third hand. This is looking good. The first 2 hands were pretty solid. The second hand played under Nib. The first hand just pushed very far. I don't know if we really played around anything, but let's see how this third hand goes. Ooh, it's kind of interesting. The cool thing about this hand, right, is that this is always considered an Elfnote card. So Regina is technically live, right? Because the effect is you can send one other Elfnote card. So this actually turns Regina on, so it allows us to play, right? I mean, it's not the greatest. Plus, we do have these 2 cards that'll allow us to play through a bunch of stuff. So even though this hand doesn't look the greatest, it should be able to play and put up a good board, regardless of what hand traps they have and what they try to do to you. You know what I mean? Because if they do like Fua and we go called by, we can then use talents, look at their hand and see what they have, or we can go talents, draw 2, and then potentially draw into more starters and stuff, right? So it's all how you feel, but essentially this hand should be able to make a full end board. So what we do is we start Regina sending this special. Regina's on summon effect, it will special out our Power Patron. Here we will go into 7, which that'll be our Sterlitzia. Then we go Power Patron 1, Regina 2, Regina adds back to hand, Power Patron will add us our Tania. Where is Tania? Tania's there. Then we will go, actually, so here actually, if you want to play under Nib, we could go play under Nib, which is pretty good because we haven't normal summoned, right? So we could get stuff and continue to play under Nib by going to Crystal Wing, or we can go into the branded stuff and Omega Rip them, which is kind of greedier. There's like 3 different ways we can pivot right now. We could either just continue to play and leave that on the field, not use its effect just yet. We can go into Crystal Wing, or we can go into the branded stuff. And because I like the branded stuff more, let's go play branded stuff right now. So we'll go Sterlitzia's effect, special out. We'll go Synchro into 8, into the Ecclesia. We'll go here to special out the Fallen of the White. Then we'll go to the Fallen of the White effect to special out Ecclesia. Then we will Synchro into another level 8. Then we hand rip them. So with all of that, we hand rip them and got the full branded package like in rotation. And then we still have plays to go. So we'll go special summon Tania, Tania's effect to place. We'll activate Welcome Home, sending Tania for Lucina. Then we'll go Lucina's effect to add, and we will add Fortuna. Then we will special Fortuna. Then we'll activate Fortuna's effect, place the trap. Then we'll go trap, sending Fortuna to bring out the Power Patron. And with the Power Patron here, we can either special summon him in the center zone or outside the center zone. It doesn't really matter. But say we go to the center zone, we haven't used its effect. There's 2 monsters we can go into, and if we know what we're playing, we can either go into a spell and trap negate or an on-field monster negate, you know? So it really just depends on what you're feeling. Just because we haven't gone into it yet for like any combos, let's go Power Patron's effect, making it a level 4. Synchro into the Fabled, and then I would probably keep these 2 in hand, and then set these, and then in the end phase, this comes back. We have our center zone open. We have our Omni Negate. So to be honest with you here, with how the board is set up, I would probably summon Regina by sending Welcome Home, and then I'd probably get Tania out, right? And then that just gives us a little leeway with the trap, right? Because we're not going to use the trap with the on-field Omni Negate unless we have stuff in hand or on field, you know what I mean? So essentially, but we could essentially go activate this, send Regina to special back the Sterlitzia, and then Sterlitzia could special this back and bring out Tania. So there's a lot of plus and a lot of like different routes you can play with it. But essentially what we have is discard fodder for when we go into Albaz play. We have an on-field monster negate. Depending on what we play, it's either going to be that or the spell and trap negate. We have a pop with the Fallen of the Virtuous. We have the Call by the Grave. And then we have Regina in hand. We rip them once with Omega. And then we have all of the stuff in the grave to continue to play. You know what I mean? So there's a lot, which is nice. Even though this last board looks like way less than the first two, it's still pretty layered. It still has a lot of good interactions. And depending on what your opponent's playing and if you know how they play, obviously this is contingent on if it's going to be heavy monster or if it's going to be heavy spell, right? So this is either going to be that or this, which I just put that out there for the sake of this combo. But overall, this end board is still really strong and has a lot of interactions that should be able to stop your opponent. And realizing that we started by sending this for Regina is super sick, because literally the first line of text, and a lot of people don't realize this, which is kind of surprising to me, but it says this card is always treated as an Elfnote card. And then with Regina's effect, literally it says send one other Elfnote card. So you're in a pretty good spot with how we started, and this end board is still pretty solid, you know what I mean? And there you have it. Those are the 3 hands that we were working on tonight. I'm probably going to continue doing more hands off camera just to like stay fresh with it and to just continue training and like to really see where all the different lines can take us, especially with like the last 2 hands that we went over. Overall, this deck, I love how layered it is, but I love how simple it is as well, you know what I mean? So like, it's very straightforward. I feel like this might be one of the fairest decks that have come out in a very long time, especially because the only like on summon effect is Regina. If all the other cards had an on summon effect, I think this deck would be crazy better, but I really don't think it needs that. But overall, I think this deck is super sick. It's my favorite deck right now, and I think I'm going to do pretty well with that at the regional. I'm going to vlog that whole experience. Obviously, there won't be any gameplay from that day, but I will be going over each one of my games after each round if there's time. I really don't know how it works. I have a bunch of homies that are going, so they're giving me a bunch of tips and tricks on how to prepare for it. So right now, this is probably the last week I'll be playing with a few of my homies, because I think they take that full week off prior to the regional, which is like a mental thing for them, which I understand. But for me, I will probably be playing every single day up until the 20th, which I'm assuming this deck will probably change a lot over the next 12 days or so, which means I will definitely have deck list and updates for you guys over the next 2 weeks. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like seeing the different routes that I take. Obviously, that last hand I could have gone Dawn Dragster over the Fabled Monster, but I just wanted to put it out there just for the sake of the video. Overall, I think each line is very like sophisticated, and you can go a bunch of different ways. It's just how you want to play into certain things. And typically, if I can, I'm probably going to go into the branded stuff, especially right now with like Nib not being so highly played, at least at like the higher levels. At locals, I feel like a lot of people are playing Nib just because Nib's such a good card, but I feel like you can kind of disregard it a little bit, especially with this deck, and still be able to put up a pretty decent board, especially if you start with like Medius or you have Fallen of the Virtuous in hand. Like, you just can continue to play, which is nice. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Hope you have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.